Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Superman and Lois Season 3, and this is going to be my review for Episode 8 for this season, otherwise entitled Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and oh boy, they decided to just drop multiple microphones in this episode and go, drama alert, reveal, and big cliffhanger. One hell of a cliffhanger, and I'm very intrigued to see where it goes from here. But of course, spoiler if you've not watched the episode, because I'm going to be talking about everything that went down. So yeah, go away if you've not watched the episode. But if you have watched the episode, you are continuing on. Be sure to know in the comment section down below your various thoughts on this episode. What you like, what you hate, favorite moments, any theories and predictions moving forward. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking about the episode and beyond. And of course, you're going to enjoy the video, want to show support and you enjoyed the episode, want to drop a like on the video. It takes 2 seconds. So last episode, we had Clark and Lois properly learning that Pia is Bruno's wife, with us also learning more about just their backstory as a whole, and that Pia had her powers before she got cancer. So that's an interesting thing. So the research that Bruno is doing with people like Henry Miller isn't why she has powers, but it could be maybe why things were developing a bit more. I think more is going to get revealed in the next episode or two, maybe, in regards to that, and maybe a bit more backstory, especially maybe when the Lex Luthor starts to fold in. But yeah, the big reveal at the end of the episode, which was, I wouldn't say it was necessarily a massive reveal, like no one was expecting it, but it was more a big confirmation, and that was that Mateo is Bruno and Pia's son. This was the main theory that people had, and yeah, it came true. But this episode as a whole, I think definitely stepped it up. I think the past couple of episodes, while still being very good, because Superman and Lois are just very consistent, it definitely felt like they were just sort of, planting some seed and just sort of going along with the flow, and not anything massive happening or being a big push forward sort of era of the season, if you want to put it. But this episode went, well, let's change that, and just sort of pushed a lot of stuff forward while also revealing a lot of things, which is going to push even more stuff forward. So yeah, this is probably the best episode we've had for a handful of weeks now. And I'm very intrigued to see where it goes from now, because we got our first little, I guess technically an appearance of Lex Luthor. That was a minor tease, so I'm very intrigued to see what happens post this episode. Now, I think we go on break after this week. I don't know, I didn't watch the promo, so I don't know if it's at a date for the next episode, but apparently we go on a break, so yeah, well, I guess we'll discuss that if we do a trailer breakdown on all that, so watch this space, I guess. But yeah, let's just break down the episode. So we open the episode with Lois going through the wars, pretty much, with her treatment and just struggling to do simple things, like even walking up the stairs and everything like that. So Clark does put together a bed for Lois downstairs just to make things easier after the boys do clear the room for it, just to make Lois's day-to-day life much more easier. But there are parallels with Lois struggling with the side effects of her cancer treatment, with Pia also struggling after her treatment is wrapped, she's coughing up blood, everything like that. But on the topic of the Mannheims, Chrissy and Clark actually have an article ready to go on Bruno and exposing his private life with Pia. I think it said the secret wife of Bruno Mannheim instead of the secret life, a bit of a play on words there. And yeah, just his private life with Pia and the whole Hobbs Bay development and all that. But Lois is actually against it, which is sort of surprising, but also not surprising at the same time, just, considering the predicament and the sort of relationship she's formed with Pia in the past couple of episodes. But she's not, I guess, fully against it. She just doesn't want to play a part in it for the most part. So Clark and Chrissy do keep going along with it throughout the episode. Now, throughout this episode, Natalie goes to dinner. It looked like lunch, but I guess it was like evening, because by the end of it, it's like nighttime. So it was, I guess, an early arrival for dinner throughout the night, if you want to put it. But yeah, she meets Mateo's parents, which of course we know is Bruno and Pia. To Natalie, this isn't any big reveal. She has no idea who Bruno Mannheim is, has no idea who Pia is, knows nothing of the history there, everything like that. And John Henry does drop her off, and I was like, ooh, is he going to get a hint? Like a hint that Bruno Mannheim is in there? But no, he doesn't walk in. He doesn't see anyone else walk in outside of Natalie, so that conflict is held off for now. And it's all going well, but then Pia does start to vibrate throughout the dinner, as if she's going to unleash her powers all of a sudden. Of course, it's almost like, I guess, her coughing. That's like her powers seeping through because of her, I guess, lack of control there. So yeah, but we'll come back to all of that, because that went from 0 to 100 incredibly quickly in that restaurant later in the episode. Now, there is a Diggle name drop in this episode when Sam drops off documents about Bruno Mannheim and everything like that. And these new files do get Lois's interest very much back into the case, as it does reveal much more about Bruno's past. Now, there is the whole thing about Diggle being involved with this season. I don't think we're going to see him at all. I think the actor who played John Henry said we weren't going to see him. People were like, oh, is that just like, you containing a surprise? But I just think they're just not going to show Diggle. I think they just want to not do it anymore. But they do name drop Diggle. You might not have heard it. They just say, oh, I got these from Diggle or something like that. It's like a really minor name drop. So yeah, I guess that might be the only Diggle reference we're getting throughout the season. I'm not too sure. But yeah, it's an important one because these documents are a big thing moving forward into this Bruno Mannheim story. Now, throughout the episode, Jonathan is officially inducted into the junior firefighter program, uniform, helmet and all, and he does get a taste of the action straight away with a big fire taking place in downtown Smallville. But Jordan also arrives in his super suit retrieving someone from the fire, but he bails as soon as he gets him out of there, and Jonathan is found by Kyle next to the victim, and Jonathan is blamed for this one, as well as causing the damage and commotion that Jordan caused, and like Jonathan's accused of pretty much going rogue and not following directions, especially as a junior firefighter who really shouldn't be doing too much outside of observing for the most part, especially at this point. Now, Jonathan does confront Jordan about this, and I think everyone knows that Jordan is a bit like up himself with his powers, especially because of who he was before, had all his anxiety, was, I guess seen as like a quote unquote loser, if you want to put it. So, a lot of people think that Jordan has like an ego problem because of the powers, but I think it's pretty realistic because I think most people would. I mean, if you were that guy and all of a sudden you were pretty much Superman, you'd probably have an ego and think that you were king of the world. So it's not too unrealistic. It's actually probably pretty fitting. Now, the issue for Jordan is that they actually found ice inside the scene of the fire, or the scene of the crime where the fire took place, suggesting someone with powers played a part in what went down. So Jordan's got to be careful because they're going to be on to him very soon. Now, obviously, this could have been Superman, but Superman wouldn't have just bailed. So this is like a new, like they would think, oh, well, Superman would hang around. Like he doesn't just fly off randomly, or at least he would have said, hey, this was me, by the way. It wasn't some random alien or some other random alien, might I say. So yeah, Jordan's got to be a bit careful with that one, and maybe might have to get a better super suit. I'm not too sure if he wants to start talking to firefighters, especially someone like Kyle who might recognize him. Now, Clark and Chrissy do go to Hobbs Bay to get some interviews to get some more information about Pia and just, some stuff from the people who might know her. And one piece of information they get is that back in high school, there was a moment where Pia changed, but when Pia got together with Bruno, things went back to how she used to be, back then before that moment when she was in high school. Now, I don't know necessarily if this is going to be when she got powers or just when she got involved with the whole crime organization. I guess once again, maybe there's more to be revealed there. That's a wait and see. Not too much is like really touched upon in regards to that. But maybe we'll learn more once Lex Luthor gets folded into that, because I think Lex Luthor, his role in Metropolis and what was happening back then is still a missing piece in this story that not only reveals more about Lex, but also might reveal more about Pia, Bruno, and everything that was going on back then, and of course also the John Henry that died from this earth. So I think that's just a wait and see. I don't want to jump to it and say, oh, they've skipped it, or like they're like skipping out information, because we might learn it in like, there's still like what, 5 episodes to go, so still a long time to go. So I don't want to judge too quickly. But after Clark and Chrissy do get back to Smallville, they are actually met with Lois and those files, and she wants to actually now run that story on Bruno and Pia, with these files sort of giving her the confidence and backing that they have on Bruno, that he's like ready for the taking, and that like they should be able to take him down based off this stuff. Now, as Lois, Chrissy, and Clark are actually going through the files, they do find more information about Luthor apparently admitting to to doing these crimes and killings. But the victims look to be like the ones from that scene at the end of last episode in the restaurant with Bruno and Pia, when she turns to help Bruno and kills everyone. And the injuries look brutal, with the connections to Onomatopoeia, like the mystery metahuman that Superman has been versing, coming up due to the various wounds and extremities of them, and just there's a big variety of them, including maybe being hit by a goddamn train, which Superman recognizes from a recent interaction. That was something that this villain did to him. It's like a train almost. And as they listen to the recording of Luthor admitting to the crimes, which is our first little tease at Lex Luthor, by the way, so that was Michael Cudlitz talking. So obviously his appearance is getting much, much closer. You can hear the buzzing of Onomatopoeia's powers in the background, like the sound she makes when she's just there, like that, it's like a faint, like hum, buzzing sort of thing, like static. I don't know what you'd call it. Something like that. I don't know. Or maybe like when you put like a microphone against like the ground or something, and I don't know, something along those lines. Weird buzzing, humming sound. So yeah, she was the one imitating those Lex's voice. She did that with Lois. Was it 2 or 3 episodes? I think it was like 2 episodes ago, 3 episodes ago, when she like imitated Lois's voice to get Superman to that factory of whatever it was. So Lex Luthor appears to have been framed. So obviously there might have been some other crimes that played into why he went to prison, but at least in regards to that direct one, it seemed that he was framed for it, which is quite the twist. But speaking of twist and drama and everything, everything under the sun that revolves around those two words, John Henry does go to meet his doppelganger sister, where she reveals the restaurant that Natalie is at currently is the restaurant that this Earth's John Henry used to go to with Bruno Mannheim. So John is quick to drop everything, drop in there and spoil dinner. So yeah, drama alert, just ring the bell. But it's not just John against Bruno, it's John against the entire goddamn restaurant and Bruno's people. Bruno's just wailing on John's face while being restrained. So, I mean, come on, Bruno, you think you're a big man, but you got all these people holding John back? Come on, man up. But anyway, John is able to call for his suit, which arrives just in time. But despite the suit, Pia's powers are still too powerful for at least John there and his suit. It's pretty much like slowly messing up the suit bit by bit. But Superman is able to arrive just in time as well, and this actually pushes Pia to the limit of her powers. Now, she is saved by Superman, taking her to the DOD to just deal with what's going on, keep her alive, but obviously this cancer is still affecting her. Now, John Henry is like pretty ruthless with this. He's like, hey, don't, just let her go. She's an evil person. She's killed all these people. But we know Superman, so I don't think Superman's going to allow that to happen. I don't know if the DOD would do anything too much. I guess maybe it's up to the discretion of whoever it might be, like Superman or General Lane or whoever it might be. But I'm very intrigued to see what the next step is with this. Because I don't know if Superman's just going to let Bruno not see his wife, especially if she's dying. So, yeah, I wonder if Superman's sort of heart will get in the way of that. We'll have to wait and see. Now, obviously, I was wondering at that point when like all this was happening, I was like, did Mateo know any of this or get a hint of it, or was he completely in the dark about it? And it seems based off it all that he was, like he has no real idea about it. So like that makes sense, like why he was so innocent about it. And I guess if he was like had any sort of hint as to, like their past, maybe, I don't know, I guess he wouldn't know specifically about John Henry and stuff like that. But it seemed like it was sort of like just kept, he got to do all these rich kid stuff, if you want to put it, like he does in Metropolis, like we've seen previously. And he just thought his dad was a businessman and, everything like that. So he was kept in the dark by the sounds of it. But regardless, John Henry is banning Natalie from meeting up with Mateo again. But I don't know if that's going to work. I think at the end, we could see that John had Natalie's phone. I think you could see Mateo trying to text her. So Mateo might show up in Smallville again. That might be what happens, because at least like he knows where she lives, so that might happen. Now, we do have Lois thinking over the fact that Lex Luthor is in prison for a crime that he did not commit. Of course, if that's the case, Lex knows that, and he's been, simmering over that for all these years. We did get that trailer for the Lex Luthor first appearance when we get like 3 weeks ago, whatever it was. I was actually sort of wondering whether he was going to be the cliffhanger at the end of this episode. But maybe I think they have to allow that story to come out, which then proves Lex is innocent. Maybe. Something along those lines. Because he just wouldn't get released from prison randomly. There'd have to be proof of it. So maybe they submit the proof. I don't know if Pia admits that it was her that did that and Lex is cleared and that's why he's released from prison. So he might get that at the end of next episode. I'm not too sure when they're going to bring in Lex. That's a wait and see, but it wouldn't just happen all of a sudden. Like things have to play out and like he'd actually have to be properly cleared. So that might be some stuff that happens in the background of next episode. But of course, the end scene, the big cliffhanger scene for this episode, we knew that Bruno had Bizarro's body just chilling in that little lab thing that he has at the train station. But at the end of the episode, he wakes up, but his eyes look weird. He looks like a zombie. It looks like zombie eyes, like stuff you'd see in The Walking Dead or zombie movies and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know. Is it going to be zombie Bizarro? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But his eyes looked a bit weird from compared to normal at the very least from what I remember from what Bizarro looked like eyes wise. So, yeah, I'm intrigued to see what they do. Are they going to make him into that doomsday type creature that's sort of been theorized? Let's wait and see. And I don't know if there'd be any prior interactions, like Bizarro would go out there and then something would happen. I don't know if it's going to be something that's just worked on behind the scenes of in the lab and stuff up until the finale. and then he's released in regards to whatever's happening there. But I mean, if Bizarro can get pumped up with more stuff and become more powerful and maybe evolve and stuff like that, Superman's got one hell of an enemy on his way. So I wouldn't want to be versus again. But yeah, overall, as I said, this episode was like probably the most action or like most story pushing forward sort of thing we've had over the past handful of episodes. I definitely think it sets up a couple of different things going into the end of this season pretty well. And yeah, I'm very intrigued to see where a lot of it goes. And yeah, as I said, I think like the Lex Luthor stuff is like might get sorted out next episode. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Lex has to get properly cleared before they can just release him all of a sudden. So yeah, I'm excited to see how that goes. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome. You could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions and all the stuff we went over. Always curious to read what you guys are thinking and what you thought of the episode. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.